My boyfriend wanted me to do an IQ test to prove how intellectually superior he was. When I was 17 at the time, I had a boyfriend who was very pretentious. I personally always found that funny, so I didn't mind. However, he was hell-bent on proving how much more intelligent he was than me. One day, he was bragging about an online IQ test he did and how smart he was. He begged me to do one as well. However, I had just smoked and was high, so I refused. After some more begging, I decided why not. It could be fun. Despite being high, I scored higher on the IQ test. He was so pissed it was hilarious. He never bragged about his IQ test again. Another time, he really wanted to show off by playing chess against me. I'm really bad at the game and told him so. But I knew people who were good and they gave me the advice to never have a pawn that was not protected by another. So I did just that. Halfway through I had captured most of his pawn and he raged quit. At chess, he flipped the board and broke some of his pieces. Needless to say, a week or two after we were no longer together. I made him too insecure and he went back to his ex, who he called extremely stupid. At least he gave me a lot of laughing materials for years to come. Anyone who wants and needs to prove that they're smarter usually isn't. Anyone who wants to play chess only against people who won't win has issues that need a therapist. Bullet dodged successfully. Great story. He's probably still mad. Point of information. You do know that those online IQ tests are invalid, don't you? The fact that he bragged about getting a high IQ from an online IQ test tells a lot about how intelligent he is. I used to play chess with my wife, then girlfriend, and I was really impressed how quickly she went from not knowing how to play to being a real challenge. 30 years later she has 4 degrees and is principal scientist at her company. She's smarter than me, she makes more money than me, she's better looking than me. All because I'm good to her and can make her laugh. Dating is designed to weed out losers, which you did. What a fragile individual. My wife is crazy smart. I never really understood this bit, but one of the things she really liked about me when we first started dating was that I was cool with it. I never tried to claim that I could also get a PhD if I wanted, nor tried to diminish her for intelligence. It was apparently a problem she always faced with guys she dated for some reason. I still don't get why. Who would be anything other than flattered if a smart, beautiful woman likes you? Anyone who needs to brag about their IQ is super insecure. People who boast about their IQ are losers. Stephen Hawking. It's actually sad that many men are intimidated by smart women. I find it to be an incredibly attractive quality. Where's the fun in perceiving oneself to be mentally superior than the other? Being a power couple is relationship goals. Lol, one of my brothers has spent his life hell-bent on making me look stupid. I ignored it as it wasn't worth the battle against his arrogance. Just the other day he popped off with one of his usual snide remarks and I finally confronted him on it and told him my documented IQ score. Instant silence from the peanut gallery and he has been oddly pleasant ever since LMAO. Don't you just love when the trash takes itself out? He went back to his ex, who he called extremely stupid. You'd have to be to date some with that fragile of an ego. Lol. Frankly, I find the chess story pretty hard to believe. No matter how smart you are, there's no way you are going to beat someone who actually knows the game. Those who know the least usually know it loudest. I dated a girl in high school who begged me to take an IQ test that she had taken online, and in her defense she scored pretty high on it, like a 135 or close to that. She always had to be better than me at everything, so she figured I wouldn't do good on the test and had me take it as well. And she was right. I had to guess my way through the test and my IQ score came out to be 159, and I remember just looking at her and saying, "Damn, I guess you are the dumb one in this relationship," and her dad busted out laughing. If you're dumb, you want a smart partner to help you navigate life. If you're smart, you want a smart partner to respect and keep you on your toes. Smart people don't need to brag about being smart. And most smart people realize there are loads of things they don't know. Did he do one of those, if you can name these 3 plants, you have an IQ of 142 inches tests? I'm pretty sure that wanting to feel superior to your partner is a red flag. The real IQ test is how long you stayed with him. How is this malicious compliance? I think all you people need to get your acts together. Lol. You beat his online IQ test while being baked. You learned chess from your friends and beat him. I smell a large amount of bullshit in your post-op. Boyfriend neither proves anything. Losing once at chess and having a lower score in an online IQ test is both worthless. Getting mad about either is pretty stupid already. I feel like I've read this already. One would think that somebody smart would know what malicious compliance was. But here we are. These anecdotes are more of few, lucky that ordinary compliance turned out well, rather than the act of intentionally inflicting harm by strictly following orders or rules, knowing that compliance with the orders or rules will not have the intended result. People conforming to the letter, but not the spirit, of a request, except in the case of OP where there was no violating the spirit of a request. Anyone bragging about their IQ score from a website has been deceived by that website. That's the kind of idiot that those scammers prey upon. Hope he didn't pay for that score result. Lol. It is hard to be happy when your ego insists you must constantly reinforce your self-image by comparing yourself to others. True happiness comes from accepting you aren't special and working to be better every day. Some others will be better than you, learn from them. They aren't a threat, they are a potential teacher. He was obviously somewhat right about his ex, she took him back. I've been married for 35 years and have never had the inclination to compare my intellect to my partner. She's my foundation and reason for living. I don't see how any measurement of our partnership would be productive. I'm grateful that we are still together and awaiting grandchildren together. Keep looking and don't settle for less than someone who wants to share your life as equals. People who brag about being smart aren't very smart. I'm not quoting anyone. That's just my life experience so far. Why do I feel like I've read this story before somewhere? Thinking face. And then they all stood up and cheered with tears in their eyes. In the end, it is not how smart we are, it is how we treat others that matters most. Man, my absolute favorite thing about my girlfriend is that Shush is smarter than me. She understands the bullshit I spout about my hobbies, and her work is super interesting, and Shush is smart enough to explain it to me. I love that I can learn something new from her on a near daily basis. I prefer partners who are smarter than me. Gotta have someone to keep my smooth brain in check. Dodged a bullet, there. Good for you. Funny enough, IQ pretty much exists to center the idea that whiteness means one is superior, but it really doesn't hold up. People can have disorders and disabilities where cognition and problem solving is concerned, but overall we just take some specific tests and like to try and hold up an idea of hierarchy. It doesn't mean anything, it's racism, not science. And so this boy using it to posture and try to lord over you is thematic, and continuing the tradition of these sad blustering men needing to be able to push down on others to feel valid themselves. He did you a favor and proved he is stupid at the same time. Please make sure you point at him and laugh every time you happen to run into him. He sounds like an unprotected pawn. Sounds toxic as all fuck. Good you put him in his place. Respect. Anyone who thinks they're the smartest in the room is never the smartest in the room. People who act and tell others they are intellectually superior are some of the dumbest people I know. Lol, where's that classic story about the guy who had 2 girlfriends? He was a dom and they were subs. He made them all take IQ tests to officiate that he was smarter and they both scored better. Wish I could find the original. Classic. People who boast about their IQ are losers. Stephen Hawking. I don't give a fuck about your IQ. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Who believes this dumb shit? 0/10. I took an IQ test and scored 134. I didn't think that was very good, but I told my wife about it. Well, she had to take it to show me up. She is an RN and I'm a factory worker, so she thought she was far smarter than me. She scored 121, but she wouldn't tell me what she scored. I had to go back to the site and look it up myself.